nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Counselor Baganski.
Here.
Counselor Lewis. Present. Counselor Balboni.
Present.
Counselor Carey.
Present.
Mayor Delnicki.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Siracusa.
Present.
Counselor King. Here. Counselor Pendleton.
Okay, good evening. I received an email from Kathy Reed. She's the prevention coordinator at South Windsor High School. She's the SAD advisor, which is Students Against Destructive Decisions with South Windsor Youth and Family Services. The email highlighted a project that students are members who are members of the Students Against Destructive Decisions Club at South Windsor High School, and some of these students will be presenting their project tonight. The students are partnering with the Connecticut Governor's Prevention Partnership and have created an approximately 10-minute presentation about prescription drug misuse and how the use of Deterra deactivation pouches can help get unnecessary prescription drugs, medications, and also over-the-counter medications out of the South Windsor households. The following students are scheduled speakers for tonight. I have Kevin Joseph, Aiden Walsh, Eve Legassi, Arushi Sharma, and Shruti Shah. If you'd like to come forward and make your presentation. Yeah, you push the button on the bottom of the microphone there. Yep, there you go.
Good evening and thank you for your time. My name is Kevin Joseph and I'm the community outreach leader of the SAD Club at students at South Windsor High School. The SAD Club stands for Students Against Destructive Decisions. SAD is a national organization which was founded on the simple idea that young people, empowered to help, is the most effective force in prevention. The club has been running for 20 years at the high school, and we advocate to solve issues within our community. We hold events and share information to raise awareness on drug and alcohol use, prevention, mental health, healthy relationships, and the general safety of South Windsor community. Some of the highlighted programs that we do include the Liquor Store Bag Initiative, the Day of Gratitude called SAD Makes You Happy Day, the Super Bowl Pizza Box Awareness Campaign, and the Relieve the Stress Fest at the high school. Our club has about 50 students and a very strong leadership position. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aiden Walsh, and I'm the Vice President of the SAD Club. We are here today because we have teamed up with the Connecticut Governor's Prevention Partnership to help make South Windsor and our surrounding communities safer. There is a major drug epidemic affecting our country. Prescription drug misuse is only part of the problem, but it is something that together we can do something about. Prescription drug misuse happens when a person takes a medication in a way that is different from the way the doctor prescribed. A person may do this by taking a medicine that is for someone else, taking a larger dose than they are supposed to, or using it for another purpose. Prescription drug misuse can have serious consequences, including trips to the ER, overdoses, and possible addiction. Here's a staggering fact. Connecticut residents are more likely to die from an unintentional drug overdose than in a car accident. When it comes to youth and drug misuse, the statistics are also powerful. A recent survey said that 1 in 10 high school students misuse medications, and 40% of those students said they found those medications from their home or a friend's home. We are here to share some information to make a change because we all have the power to prevent substance misuse.
Hello everyone, my name is Shruti Shah and I'm a member of the SAD Club. So now that we know the problem, what can we all do about it? Well, prevention starts with you. Talking about it does make a difference. We have learned that starting conversations with those you care about should start early because we all are exposed to information about substances in our daily lives. Did you know that youth who have conversations with caring adults about the dangers of drug and alcohol misuse are 50% less likely to use? That's a big number for something as simple as talking with others about what they see in social media, on TV, or in the music that they listen to. There is never a bad time to start conversations with others about the consequences of drug misuse. Remind them of the support systems in our community and offer your own assistance if they have questions or are looking for help. Taking the stigma out of talking about what is happening in our community is an important step for fighting prescription drug misuse.
My name is Eve Lagasse, and I am a leader of the SAD Club. Now let's get to know how we can all do something tangible that will make a difference. Where medications are stored in your home and what you can do with them when they are no longer needed is part of making our community safer for everyone. When you or a loved one has an active prescription, please make a plan for safe storage. Keep track of the medication and, if possible, lock it up to reduce access. We are making it a goal to share this information with a variety of groups in South Windsor. Each time we present, we are giving a free doTERRA deactivation bag to each of you. We ask that you take it home, look in your cabinets, and get rid of medications that are not being used.
My name is Arushi Sharma and I'm a member. We will now demonstrate how to use this bag. You will open the bag and place the medication inside. These bags will hold up to 45 pills, 6 ounces of liquid medicine, or even 6 patches. Then fill the bag halfway with warm water and wait 30 seconds for air to release. Some foaming may occur. Seal the pouch and gently shake. Then simply dispose in the normal trash. These eco-friendly bags use activated carbon to deactivate the drugs. Also, medications can be mixed in the bag, but they are a one-time use. Once you have used this bag, you can request another one through South Windsor Youth and Family Services. Also, it is important to know that the South Windsor Police Department has a medication drop box in the lobby that can be used by anyone, including non-residents at any day or night, with no questions asked. As we said earlier, we have teamed up with the Connecticut Governor's Prevention Partnerships for this important project. They have provided these doTERRA bags so that we can all do the simple thing to make our communities safer. Thank you for your support. Together, we have the power to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask before they leave, or? Actually, if we can have a picture taken with them, Kathy, would they?
Yeah, it's okay. Ready? Okay, actually, hold on. Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Item 5. Counselor Lewis, adoption of the agenda, please.
I'd like to make a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to make a friendly amendment to change the approval of minutes reads February 20th, 2024. That should be February 5th. And then also, item 13B should read, it should say contingency, not
Nope.
whatever. 13B, it says contingency, it should say contingency. And then also, on page 3, on the consent agenda, where it says Councilor Balboni makes a motion to approve 11A dash 11A again, that should be 11B, both of those. And then also the next line for Councilor Pendleton, those should also be 11B.
Do I hear a second on the
Second.
motion to approve the agenda as amended? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay, communications from the town manager, Mr. Maniscalco.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight I don't have a written report for all of you, so I'm just got a couple things to go through for all of you. First of all, on Collins Crossing, we've had some challenges with the chip sealing that was done over there. Through some negotiations at the Public Works Department, we've been able to get the contractor who's going to go in and actually replace the chip sealing with pavement. So that's a pretty good success on their part, saving the town money and also fixing the problem that that contractor put in place. So some good news on that part for Collins Crossing. I've started work on my budget, getting the budget ready for all of you. I do want to bring to all of your attention to keep an eye on the budget cap. I think as many of you remember last year, the budget cap became a challenge with the 2.5% increase. Now it's not a 2.5% over the entire budget, but there is a portion of the budget that cannot increase more than 2.5%, or the cost of living / inflation. And we haven't received those numbers from the state yet, so we're still waiting to see what those numbers would be. There is a potential for a penalty of some sort, but we have not been made aware of what those penalties would be if we were to go over the cap, and in the past we haven't received any penalties as of date. So we'll try to see if we could get any more information that we possibly can. I think as all of you remember from the last budget, you know, spent a lot of time trying to, you know, figure this out and get as much information as we can so that we can make some educated decisions. And it's like pulling teeth trying to get information out of the state sometimes. So, but I do want to bring it to all of your attention as just preliminarily looking at overall numbers where they seem to be playing out. We will be definitely struggling to get under the cap at 2.5%. So, also wanted to bring to your attention the motor vehicle tax cap. I've mentioned this to all of you a few times, and I know that I've sent some emails that you've all seen, but at this point we are pretty confident that we're probably going to be losing about 1.9 million for the motor vehicle tax cap, or about 11.59%, and that this will increase our mill rate from 33.14 to 33.72 in the upcoming budget, and that's before we even start. Next is the electric vehicle charging station over at the library. I know there was some conversation at your last meeting where they came forward looking to all of you to see about getting some funding to help in their grant application to for a match, and essentially we've been able to use a grant currently that we do have to offset that match, so that won't be any action that's needed on the part of the council, and it won't be any taxpayer funds that we'll need to use for that grant match. And then lastly, I wanted to just mention Public Works. I know the last couple storms have been pretty long and pretty trying, and they did a monumental task at moving snow and making sure our roads were open and safe. So I really do appreciate that work, and I'd be happy to take any questions any of you have. And
Anyone have any
answer
questions?
whatever you got.
Councilor Lewis?
I just wanted to ask, Tuesday, we had the snowstorm. A lot of things were closed, schools were closed. You chose to have the library open and employees to come in. How come?
So, to make this very clear, the town hall doesn't close due to weather, nor does the rest of the town of South Windsor. We are the last line of defense, for lack of a better term, for our community in events of challenge and concern. Our library acts as a warming station for those who might be stuck out in the weather. Additionally, when we have public works crews and police departments who are mandated and required to be out on the street, they are all parts of collective bargaining units who are also a part of our town staff. And in the event that we give part of our collective bargaining units time off, they're going to be requesting time off as well. And that all of those things interplay, and they offer some pretty big challenges to us. So first and foremost, we offer the best service that we possibly can throughout, no matter what weather that is, to our residents. And secondly, it's a larger issue than just, because the weather was bad. So, yeah.
Councilor Pendleton?
How are we with the salt and the snow? I always ask with those snowstorms.
Correct. So far, we're doing very well. We don't have any salt issues. Currently, we just had a conversation about this earlier today. About 5 years ago, we had a salt shortage and we had some real challenges in buying salt. Thankfully, we have a sizable enough salt shed that we can handle a few storms with the salt supply that we do have on a regular basis. That said, we do once in a while get the monumental storm that does take everything in the shed. But when the shed is getting empty, we're able to get new supplies of salt in right now because the salt market seems to be moving well.
And when do we usually purchase that? In the summer, we go through the state for that, or when they have we keep an eye on when they're doing big bulk purchases?
We usually purchase off of the CROG bid, the Capital Region Council of Governments, or the state bid, so it depends on which one is the better. And then essentially what we do is we order off of that bid throughout the year as we need it. So.
Oh, good. And so we're up to speed.
Currently, we're doing well.
Thank you. And thank you to Public Works.
Deputy Mayor Sirkisa?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I noticed a parking lot, what it seems at the bottom of Niederwürfer on like the East Windsor side. Is that actually a parking lot? There's like a post and beam fence. Looks like a bunch of gravel that got put down. Does that have anything to do with like the bike trail that's going in there, or what is that?
I could not answer that for
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure if that's on the East Windsor. Is it on the East Windsor side or the South
Right,
Windsor side?
as
I know
you-
which one you're talking about. I just wasn't
It's
sure which.
right
side
as
it's
you
on.
would enter in where the power lines are.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a fairly sizable parking lot that they put in and put a fence around. So I wasn't sure if that was part of the bike trail, if that's where it's beginning or ending.
Let me ask
Okay.
and see what I can find out for you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Councilor Balboni?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know we've talked about it briefly, but that $2 million that we're losing out from the state, that's directly related to lowering our mill rate?
Yeah, so the car tax cap and the way that the state implemented it, essentially what they wanted to do was make municipalities whole at that time when they implemented the car tax cap. So they put in a cap of, let's just say for argument's sake it's 32. I know it's 32 and change, but let's just say it's 32. At that time, our mill rate happened to be 38, and they were giving us the difference in that delta. When we went through reval, that lowers your mill rate to something else, typically. In our instance, our mill rate got lowered to 32 or 33 and some change. So essentially that delta between the 32 cap and the 33 mill rate has shrunk significantly, which then reduces our revenue off of that grant.
Okay, so in other words, if we left the mill rate just a little bit higher and maybe reduce the evals, is that possible? Maybe a little bit outside the box, but.
So we don't have the authority to change the values of people's homes through reval. Like the assessor as well as myself would probably get in quite a bit of trouble if we changed values on people's homes like that.
All right,
Yeah, we did discuss possibly doing a phase-in of reval at one time. But at the time that came up, it was, one, it was too late because we had to make the decision almost a year before. And then two, the municipalities that we've been watching who did do the phase-in scenario, those home values are actually even higher than they were when they would have just done the whole reval. So as a result of doing the phase-in, they're actually, rather than seeing, in our instance, a 33% increase on the majority or average home, they're seeing upwards of 45 to 50% increases. So it's not playing out as well as I think they had hoped for municipalities that did a phase-in.
excellent, thank you.
Yep.
Anything further? Well, thank you, Mr. Maniscalco. Moving on to item 7, public input for items on the agenda. Public input shall not exceed 30 minutes. When recognized by the mayor, the speakers shall approach the lectern, give their name and address. Speakers shall avoid personal attacks or impugning or alleging an improper motive to any person. The speaker may address the council on any item on the agenda. Speaker shall limit his speaking time to 5 minutes. Anyone from the public like to speak on any item on the agenda? Item on the agenda, going once, going twice, seeing none. Moving on to item 8, Councilor Carey.
Okay, approval of the February 5th Town Council meeting minutes. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves the minutes of the regular Town Council meeting of February 5th, 2024.
You have a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Moving on to item 9, communications, liaison officers, and boards directly responsible to the council. Councilor Lewis.
I attended the WPCA meeting on February 6th, and I'd just like to report that the Clark Street Pump Station Valve Project is completed under budget. Balance was transferred to the WPCA, last remaining open ARPA project. The UV disinfection upgrade is underway. They reported how they've been trying to trim the budget, the coming budget season, and they're making great progress on routine maintenance. And the odor control project is going very well over on Main Street. And also, if I may, Madam Mayor,
Sure.
is the Parks and Recreation. Their focus right now is working on their master plan. And that's all I got.
Okay. Councilor Carey.
I attended the planning and zoning meeting where Dr. Carter came and did a very in-depth discussion of our enrollment. I would urge everyone who's interested to go out to the Board of Ed website and take a look at those numbers. They are definitely eye-opening. So it was a very interesting discussion. She has a whole presentation, and it just gives you some idea of what to expect in the next 5 years.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Communications? Councilor Balboni.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Public Building Committee on February 14th. Their main focus right now is actually moving to looking at the Parks and Recs facility at Orchard Hill and the possible reuse of that. They're talking with Colliers, and they checked with 3 architects and talked about a thing that we're going to talk about later on 13B. As to Pleasant Valley, I guess there's a very small punch list still to go. They're having some drainage issues and plan on planting a bunch of grass in the spring. I guess one of the holdups has something to do with the new principal's desk and library furniture. They'll be releasing the final retainage next month, and they plan on doing some work over the February break. They also, again, we're talking about the tower at VMP and if we've made any progress on the providers.
I know there's some ongoing negotiations related to that, but I haven't heard any progress as of to date. But there's still ongoing negotiations, so.
Mr. Summers, did you want to add anything to that? 'Cause I saw you pop up.
No, I'm answered.
Okay, thank you. Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a reminder, well, I didn't attend any meetings, we weren't any scheduled. The Social Justice and Racial Equity Commission has their South Windsor Social Justice Day Community Forum this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it'll be located a little bit across the way at the South Windsor Town Library Friends Room. So again, that's this Saturday from 10 a.m. To 2 p.m. There will be food there, just in case anybody's asking. And yeah, it should be a great time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? You all set, Councilor King?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
That's okay. Moving on to item 10, reports from committees. Seeing none. Moving on to the consent agenda. Item 11B, Councilor Balboni.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 11B1 through 11B2 as a second reading on the consent agenda.
Have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. 11B, Councilor Pendleton.
Motion to approve 11B3 through 11B6.
You have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. 11C, miscellaneous, having none. Item 12, unfinished business, none. Item 13, new business, Mr. Deputy Siracusa. Deputy Mayor Siracusa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I'd like to ask the town manager to invite whomever needs to present the South Windsor Business Registry presentation, please.
Thank you. We have Fire Marshal Walter Summers, and Michelle Zeip, our Planning and Zoning Director here, and they've been involved with a number of staff on working on putting this together. So if you guys want to kind of go over it and fill us in.
Good evening. This thought or idea has been around for about 5 years. We've been hashing it around. COVID and everything else got in the way. But here we are asking for your opinion on this. What we are finding out in the field, both fire marshal, assessor, planning, is that we have businesses opening up in town. Say it's a doctor's office to a doctor's office or a business to a business. They're not required to come into the building or fire marshal's office to get a permit. So we're not getting notified that a new business has opened up. And this also has impact on Next Gen, where we create our call list for emergencies for these businesses. So over the last couple of years, we've done some research, and there are a few towns in Connecticut that do a no-fee business registration. And our thought is to use our current permit system, OpenGov, where the business owner can go online, fill out some questions for us, you know, who's the owner, who's the tenant, 24-hour contact numbers, do you have an alarm system, what's your alarm company? So all that data gets captured, and we can put that within our information. And then that information will go to the assessor, town clerk, the planning department, building, fire, and the PD. And that way, if different departments have any questions, they can follow up with the appropriate person. So in your packet is a flyer that Scott's department made out with some benefits for it. We do have a draft ordinance to send out if that's how we want to do this, or we have had some talk internally whether it be a policy. So we're trying to get a little feedback from the council on how they would like to proceed or not proceed with it. And I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Counselor King?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I might have misunderstood. What was the initial reason that you said you wanted to do this? Because businesses were moving from one location to another, but they didn't file?
Correct. If it's the same use group, like a store to a store,
Right.
that business doesn't have to go to planning and zoning for approval. So the landlord can rent that space and then they will move in without us, fire marshal or building department, knowing about it. A point in example is on the corner here.
Yes.
You see the sign for Skin, is it? I think the new doctor's office there. Didn't know until we saw the little signs up because it's a use to a use. We've had other situations in the industrial area where they'll just rent out spaces and we won't even know.
So they still don't, I'm sorry to cut you off. I
No,
just
that's
don't
fine.
want to go down a rabbit hole. So you're suggesting that they don't even need to have a certificate of occupancy in the new location?
That is correct. If they're not doing any work, building any walls or anything, there is no building permit required. So the space already has a certificate of occupancy and they can just open up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I'm really, so just so I'm clear, so say for example, a business opens up on Deming. I'll use your example, doctor's office, whatever.
Okay.
And then they go around the corner on Ellington and they open up another doctor's office. They don't need to have any certificates or anything because they're the same doctor? Or am I just really
The
misunderstanding?
same use group, either medical, store, mercantile, and they're not changing anything, they're not building a wall, adding anything. There's no need for a permit, so the certificate of occupancy is valid from that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
A better example, maybe like, we have some industrial kind of apartments, I think is what they call them, or industrial condos. So let's just imagine somebody opens a auto body shop within one of those industrial condos within town. They then shut down and move out, and then somebody else moves in and brings their machining equipment and starts doing a machine shop in there. There's nobody within the town would know that now that's a machine shop rather than a auto body shop if there's no walls going up or any permit required activity occurring, if that's helpful.
Counselor Pendleton?
I'm just thinking,
Sure.
with the businesses, the assessor does know what businesses we have in our community because they sometimes, to write off a certain portion.
Correct, they would have to, some businesses actually have to register with the town clerk. I'm not quite sure how that, because if they're gonna write a checking account or they claim it within town, they do. They have to register their trademark with the town clerk, and then it goes through the process. The town clerk is not required to send that information to me or to PD or whatever. It goes to the assessor. That's an internal issue we can cover, but if they don't register as a trademark, then we would never know they're there. We do have a lot, and I think that's a perfect example of the small business condos. They move in and out, the landlords just rent them out, and we have no clue that they're there. Because as fire marshals, probably we're not in there in at least to 3, 4, sometimes 5 years, going back to those properties. And currently, we find them now just driving around.
So on one hand, this will help with safety.
Correct. So on the safety side, the information on that sheet will automatically go to the PD. And for an example, Mobus was built. Their fire alarm went off. Because the CAD still had it as the golf range, it's called in as Mobus, but the CAD still says the golf range because that information has not gotten into NextGen, 2 different systems. So we hope to improve the information in NextGen. We hope to improve the call list after hours, which are pretty lacking in there right now. And hopefully over time that will be a robust list.
And is there something internal that the departments can do to speak to each other for the next gen and get you the information they need?
So currently, when we update in our inspection program and building inspection program, we email Lieutenant Bonaducci all the new information, and he puts it into next gen. So internally, we are doing that as we CO a building or we get a new a project in. We do that, yes, internally right now.
And the assessor's office can also assist with any new businesses that may come into town and register with the town?
We can do that a little bit internally, but you're still missing a good portion of businesses that come to town, I think.
Okay. One of the things on here that I had a question about is verification of employees. Is that all employees or just the key holder or business owner? What are you looking for employees? I don't understand.
So I would be looking for just a call list and who's the responsible party. One of the problems that we have in the fire marshal side is actually who is the responsible party for this business. An example is that we have a property in town that I have to deal with a corporation in New York City. And it's how you get that information. There is a big issue in the enforcement world where a lot of the LLCs that now own the commercial properties are in New York, New Jersey, or whatever, and they don't have a local representative. There is a bill in the legislature this year, put in by the Department of Justice, Department of Criminal Justice, to try and require that information in certain towns over 25,000. It's a draft bill now, but hopefully we can work with them to get that number down, but in a short session, I don't even know if that's gonna get through, so.
So with that said, would you be looking for information on, let's say it's one of those industrial condos or commercial condos that we own in town, you would need the information of that property owner and then also the business manager, the business owner that's within that facility that may be renting that parcel.
Right.
So you would know, you would have 2 points of contact?
We would have the owner, and a lot of these properties have a property management company.
Right.
So we would get that information, but then each individual condo would have their information also. And
Whatever business may be in
whatever
there.
business is, and so when they rotate through, a lot of those little ones are a couple years and then they move on because they do so well. We would, when somebody else moves in and they're not in our rotation of inspections, that information would automatically come in and we can update our information.
Having this registry, something like this, would also prevent anything dangerous that our first responders wouldn't know about? And by having this registry, they would be aware of what they're going into?
So there's two ways to get that information. There's a Tier 2 report where if you have certain amount of hazardous materials that reach a certain level of quantities, they're required by state law to report that. And those are starting to come in now in February and March. So we get that information. That information goes into Next Gen, and it's also forwarded over to fire department, and it's in their ESO program. Mm-hmm. When we do our inspections, we do notate if there's a lot of hazardous materials or explosives or stuff like that. We do put that in our report, and we forward that on to the PD and the fire department.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Deputy
Madam
Mayor
Mayor.
Siracusa.
You mentioned in your opening remark that there are towns that have this. Do you know how many in the state? Or
So
is it an
I could
overwhelming
only
amount?
find 4 right now. I think New Britain, Seymour, Stamford. I can get you that information. Some do it by ordinance, some do it by zoning.
So there's 4 towns in the whole.
It's not a wide
Okay.
group, but.
And then, if this were to happen, would the businesses that are current in town be grandfathered in to not have to register in? Because my worry, it's free to register, but what about the people that open up a business not knowing the landlord didn't tell them they had to do this? Now all of a sudden they have tens of thousands of dollars of, construction work they have to do, how would that look?
So the form does not create an inspection. The form is just information collection, and we would do that for existing buildings now. Because those emergency call lists are changing all the time, and the managers change all the time. And what we're looking to do is to partner up with the EDC. I think the EDC is willing to go out and start handing out the flyers if this program goes through, and we can really collect that good information.
I'm talking about the business, you said if there's a change of business type, that
So if-
requires
Yep,
you to know that.
we would know
Well,
that because
does
that
that
requires a
information that
building
you-
permit.
Does that information that you compile, would that trigger that knowledge now to you? I mean, what would happen to that business?
So if there was a change of use, it would obviously conduct inspections, but we would hand them, or point them to the online form if they could fill that out prior to their CO, and we can gather that information. We can do it in
Be on the-
person.
Would that be on the landlord to cover those fees if they have to end up changing, get things up to certain codes or whatnot, or?
We haven't really hashed that part out, who would be
Okay.
the responsible party for that.
All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Counselor Lewis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. How would these businesses know that there's a registry that they need to do something with? I mean, you come in, you pay rent, you're good to go, and then months down the road, someone's like, well, didn't you fill out the registry? I never knew about the registry.
So, just like any brand-new program, we would definitely do a public information push on our social media. Like I said, the EDC is willing to partner with us, and a lot of the buildings in town are probably held by, 15, 20 of the, major landlords, and we can gather that up. Or we can get a scout program, I'm thinking off the top of my head, the Boy Scout can go out and hand out stuff as a Eagle Scout project, something like that, We can partner with a lot of local groups to get the word out,
Do we have any idea how many LLCs are affected or businesses that like this?
So currently, I think in my inventory of inspectable properties in the industrial area, we're probably about 800-900 businesses.
Thank you.
And to go further, that 800-900 could have 3 or 4 different sub-owners in there. So we have quite a bit of robust businesses out there.
Counselor Pendleton?
I heard talk of fines. Would there be a penalty for not doing this?
That would be a decision of the council, whether you want to apply a fee. I avoided that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I also just want to get back to the LLCs. They're saying there's a lot of LLCs that may own the property, but that's not necessarily what business is in there. And so you're looking for the business that's operating within those 4 walls.
And if the owner of that complex is an LLC, we want that information. And then we can go on Concord, the old Concord system, and find out who the president, the agent is. Now, to delve in a little deeper, when a fire marshal or the building department has to abate somebody, we have to abate the owner of the property. And when you abate an LLC, you might have to send out 10 different notices to all the officers of that LLC. It's quite the process.
Okay. And then you mentioned what did I write? Yeah, the sub-owners, that's what you're speaking with.
Yep.
You mentioned 800 to 900 in the industrial. Are we talking?
No, that's all the known business occupancy, mercantile, industrial that we have.
In the town?
Yeah.
In the town as a
800-900.
whole?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is this going to affect the way that folks may or may not pay their taxes? Or how we address if they do or they don't? Or is this going to open a door for us to make it easier for us to go after them? No? Okay, we're not using this as a side way to get to somebody, to get them to pay their taxes, or?
I think if we have the correct information on the owner and everything, it helps them to contact the
Well, I
right
mean,
person, I
there's-
guess.
Everybody has to pay their taxes. There's no way, ifs, ands, or buts on that. And,
Has to and does are two different things, Mr. Maniscalco.
yeah, but we're at 99.99%.
We're doing a great job.
Collection rate, and whether the person decides they want to pay it of their own free will, or we end up leaning their property and collect those taxes afterwards, we do collect those taxes one way or another.
Okay. And so I guess this is a question for the town attorney. Would it be better to do an ordinance, or would it be better to do a zoning change for something like this? Have you contemplated or informed about, or?
It doesn't really matter, and quite honestly, I think there's a lot of detail that needs to go into this, and more discussion that has to happen before we even come back with any type of proposal.
Okay.
Honestly.
Well, either way, we'd have to have a public hearing, correct?
Well, when you adopt an ordinance, you have to have a public hearing, if that's the way
Okay.
the town council wants to go.
So that leads me to my next question. Have you heard from businesses? Have businesses heard about this program yet? And have you heard any comments from any of the businesses that are in town?
No, we have not let them know that this is out there yet.
Oh, I guess they will now know. Okay.
They will now know that we're
Yes.
thinking about this, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if you hear anything from businesses prior to this being created, maybe you can come back and report to us if you've heard anything significant from a large amount of businesses, and you can come back and fill us in.
I will do that, yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions? Counselor Buganski.
Thanks. Just real quick, is there any upfront cost or expense to the town or the landlord/tenant on any of this stuff? Okay.
So everything will be online. We've already created a draft of the form in OpenGov. All the startup is really there. It's just, if we do approve the ordinance, it's just go out and get the public notice out and stuff like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Counselor Pendleton?
Thank you. It's already on our website prior to the form?
No, we have, on the town side, we have an administrative side where we can create drafts.
Gotcha.
And it's not public, no.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was like, what? It's out there already? What? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Leif, do you have anything to add, or is?
No, just a little bit. We do a lot of registration of businesses currently. I don't want to have people think that we don't know about businesses. Anytime anybody comes to the town clerk's office and wants to file a trade name, they get sent up to the planning department to either verify that they're in an existing zone that's allowed it or something like that. So we do capture quite a bit. We capture a lot of home businesses for sure. There's an online permitting system from that. It's very often that we get calls from other states where people are coming and they expect to have to register their business with the town, and they're quite surprised we don't have a registration with that. So to me, there's a lot of benefit on the town side to know who is where. They register willingly. Sometimes if they want sign permits, we find out about them from new signage. Or again, if they go through the planning process, of course, we'll find out about them. But there are a lot out there that we just don't know about. I don't want to say that every business out there that would register wouldn't maybe have an enforcement issue. I can think of some businesses that if they registered, we'd be like, wow, we didn't know that. And those are things like, I don't think that's the goal of this program. The goal is really just to make sure that we know where our businesses are, that if they are supposed to be doing certain safety measures or building permits or things like that, that they're following the rules that we have all our other businesses follow. It really is not meant to be punitive in any way. It really is meant to be advantageous. And another really cool thing, if we got it really robust enough, is it would be nice to know how many of certain types of businesses we have in town. I think the chamber might we might get some synergy amongst our businesses. So I think there are some positives that could come out of it. It would take a lot of energy, no doubt, to get up and running, but all we have is time, so.
Thank you. Seeing,
Okay, any other?
I think we're good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to 13B. Counselor Baganski?
Resolution approving a transfer of $40,000 from the contingency account to the feasibility study for recreation building expenditures. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves a transfer of $40,000 from the contingency account to go into the feasibility study for the recreation building. This transfer will cover costs to study the programming needs and facility needs of the Recreation Department building, i.e. Old Orchard Hill School.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Counselor Baganski?
Just as a point of clarification, I just want to reiterate that this is the project that was previously presented to the Town Council, I believe last meeting or the meeting prior. They didn't ask for quite as much money, but they were only, at that point, only talking about the physical inspection. This would actually cover physical inspection and to some extent architect and engineering requirements, at least for the preliminary. And also this is to evaluate converting the old Orchard Hill School into the new Park and Rec HQ, which would be at a substantial savings to the town versus brand new building. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Balboni?
Thank you. I'd like to offer up a friendly amendment. I was actually at the PBC meeting, and the number is a little bit higher than the 40,000. They're actually requesting 59,800. To break that down, that's 15,000 for Colliers, 24,800 for the architect, and then a $20,000 contingency, so that they don't have to keep coming back to us for money for any sort of runovers. But any additional work will still require the PBC's approval. So I'd like to make an amendment to raise that from 40,000 to 59,800.
Second.
Do you accept that friendly amendment, Counselor Baganski?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? Deputy Mayor Siracusa?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Councilor Baganski's comments. The mayor and I were asked to meet with a couple of members from the Parks and Rec Commission to basically ask, what should we do moving forward? And I asked, well, was the owner's rep ever instructed to do a fit out where they're currently at? And the answer was no. So instead of an $80, $90 million option as being our only option on the table to build a brand new building, I thought, why not? Why don't we have them? I wish we did it back then, but why don't we have them figure out how they can give all the wants and needs to an already built structure that we have? So essentially that's what's going to be going on with this particular resolution here.
Counselor King?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just so I'm clear, though, isn't this just a feasibility, just a study? So this is so they can come back and say, yeah, it's not feasible. Okay, I just want to, just because what you just said was, okay, right. But I just want to make sure that we're all clear that they could come back and say, yeah, it's just not feasible. We actually got to knock this structure down, and we may still have to build. So your 90 million could actually be 90,060,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted,
Yeah.
just so we're all clear on that.
Yeah,
This is not saying that we're actually going to be building there.
Of course.
This is just a study saying whether we can or can't, and if they say no, okay, that's all. I just wanted to make sure, because.
Yeah, way to potentially, hopefully
No, if
hear
it
that
works,
we can, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Avoid-
I'm just saying.
Avoid a $80 or $90 million option.
No, I agree.
So where, we have a campus there, right? We have an elementary school, we have a middle school, and we have now a Parks and Rec building that looks out over that campus essentially. So I think it'd be a great thing if they can cut that down by many millions of dollars to stay put where they're at and do exactly what they need for the town, I think it'd be great. But yeah, of course, they could certainly come back and say, can't do it, so. But there's only one way to find out.
No, I agree. No, it's fine. I just wanted to make it, like I said, I just wanted to be clear that this is not one or the other.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. C, Councilor Balboni.
Resolution reappointing Clifton Larson Allen as the town auditor for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, at a fee of $68,250. Be it resolved, the South Windsor Town Council hereby reappoints the firm of Clifton Larson Allen LLP of West Hartford, Connecticut, to audit the books and accounts of the town of South Windsor as provided in the general statutes of the state of Connecticut. And be it further resolved that the fee for said auditing services by Clifton Larson Allen LLP will be $68,250 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, for a term expiring December 31st, 2024.
Here a second? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Item 13D, Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution accepting the resignation of Erica Evans from the South Windsor Town Council. Please be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Erica Evans from the South Windsor Town Council effective February 6, 2024, as more fully described in Exhibit A. Excuse me. Be it further resolved that the South Windsor Town Council extends its thanks to Erica Evans for the time she has dedicated to serving her community by her membership on the South Windsor Town Council.
Second.
You have a second? All the discussion?
Yes.
Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As someone who worked with Erica, I'll say she will be missed. I appreciate her, everything that she did for the council, and actually even with helping me understand a lot of what the council roles were, so on and so forth. For the record, it's always going to be family first. So no matter what the reason is, if somebody says that, you know, they want to make sure that they're taking care of their family first, I think that that's very important, it's very respectable, and she will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Lewis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I second that. Councilor Evans, I've served with her a number of times on different committees, and she's always been focused, and she cares about the town that she lives in and for her family, and she will be missed. And she had some experience and some wisdom that she's picked up along the way from being here. So it should be hard to replace.
Thank you. Councilor Pendleton.
I'd like to thank Councilor Evans for the time and the energy and the effort that she put not only onto the council, but also onto the Board of Ed. I'd also like to thank her family for the time that they've sacrificed her to our community and the time and the hours that she volunteered on many of the boards, commissions as liaison, and also as serving our community. The most part that I enjoyed mostly about Erica Evans, Councilor Evans, was her ideas and her energy and her stick-to-itiveness. And I truly appreciated that and all the thoughts and the ideas that she brought to the council and the way of looking at something from the different side and a different point of view. And I truly appreciate her effort and energy that she gave to our community and our council. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. 13E, Councilor Carey.
Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Amanda Poma, Clerk of the Council, effective February 16th, 2024, as more fully described in Exhibit B. Be it further resolved that the South Windsor Town Council extends its thanks to Amanda Poma for the time she has dedicated as Clerk of the Council.
You have a second? Second. Discussion? Councilor Carey?
I, just want to say that we truly appreciate everything Amanda did for us. A lot of times she was doing things that, made our lives much easier, so she'll be missed.
Councilor Pendleton?
I'd like to say thank you to Amanda. Thank you for being the right hand, running this council, stepping up to the plate when you were first hired here, and your organizational skills are beyond compare. So that phenomenal job, and follow your heart, do what you feel like you need to do in life. Thank you for all that you've done.
Deputy Mayor Siracusa?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Amanda for all that she did for the council, serving on the previous council and the current council. She was very helpful for me, getting me up to speed, being appointed to the last council. You know, could feel a little lost, and she answered every question I had, made sure I had everything I needed, and I am very happy and excited for her that she is chasing a dream of hers and in a lane that she really wants to be in. So, you know, we're sad to lose her, but happy to see her kind of thrive in the position she wanted to be at. So, thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, I have to echo the same sentiments as well. Amanda helped me getting on board here. I'm going to miss that. I was disappointed when I got her letter, but I'm happy for her. She's going for her dream and in the hospitality industry. So that being said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 13F, Councilor Lewis.
Thank you. Resolution approving 24 refunds totaling $27,194. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves 24 refunds, the total said refunds being $100.94, and as more fully described in Exhibit C.
Have a second. Any discussion? Councilor Lewis? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Item 14, passage of ordinance, having none. Item 15, public input for any matter. Public input for any matter shall not exceed 30 minutes. When recognized by the mayor, the speaker shall approach the lectern, give their name and address. Speakers shall avoid personal attacks or impugning or alleging an improper motive to any person. The speakers may address the council on any item. The speaker shall limit his speaking time to 5 minutes. And if you can say your name and sign the form, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I'll sign in when I'm done. And members of the Town Council. My name is John Holozak. I'm a 32-year resident of the town of South Windsor. I live on Cody Circle with my wife. There's a few individuals from my greater neighborhood that want to speak to you tonight. I thought it would be helpful if I started and gave a really concise history of the primary matter at hand. We're here tonight to talk primarily about the ordinance on Governor's Highway that purports to limit tractor-trailer traffic. I'd like to give you a quick history of how we got here and why we're stuck. Just to set the stage, Savin Brothers bought all the land south of Governor's Highway, west of Belden Road, and easterly of John Fish Boulevard back in the late 1960s. Hilton Road was already there. I think Edgewood Drive was already in the process of being developed. But all the tobacco fields they bought up. They began developing it throughout the 70s and 80s. There were a number of interesting ideas that were tried there and then stopped or whatever. But by 1985, at the corner of Governor's Highway and John Fitch Boulevard, Route 5, the G. Fox warehouse was built. Later, JCPenney, I think it's currently Macy's, might have that mixed up. It was the largest standard warehouse in Hartford County, I believe, at the time. In 1986, the town council began moving towards abandoning or relinquishing Old Newbury Road and turning it over to the Savin Brothers to develop that area. And sort of in exchange, or in the process of doing that, they planned to pave the Governor's Highway all the way through. Prior to this, it was just a dirt road. Newbury Road was much longer. It was a diagonal road. Didn't get you through there very quickly. The neighbors on Belden Road and Governor's Highway said, look, we're going to get killed with trucks. Anybody heading to Boston is going to come right through here. This is a major warehouse. You can't just go and do this. Now, my understanding secondhand from other people who were residents in 85 and 86 is that a number of town council members, a deputy mayor, a mayor, made certain promises that they would attempt to control the tractor-trailer traffic. And in 1994, when my wife and I moved to the area, there were signs saying trucks are not asked not to use these roads, Belden Road and our end of Governor's Highway. In 2005, the ordinance was passed. I think it's a $90 fine or something if a tractor-trailer uses the section of road down by us. Frankly, I've only ever seen in my 30 years in this part of South Windsor a tractor-trailer pulled over by a police car. It sort of worked in that there were a lot of low-hanging trees and large low-hanging branches on the section of Governor's Highway between Belden Road and Ellington Road. But in the mid-20-teens, we had that late October storm. All those trees fell down. They took the power wires out. The power company came through and just clear-cut everything. And then the truck drivers saw there was no longer trees, and so they came roaring through, a big increase in quantity. My wife and I spent several $1,000s putting sound-absorbing windows into the front face of our home that faces towards Governor's Highway. In 2021, Bart Passaconis, the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, was examining a property that was under application. And he noticed all the tractor trailers rumbling by, and he looked at the signs, and he said, what is this? So I believe he talked to the chief of police. I know he talked to the town attorney at the time and was told that the ordinance was not enforceable. That's all we got out of the hearings at the time. In 2022, kind of serendipitously, one of my neighbors was talking to the Office of the State Traffic Authority and learned that the local traffic authority here had never applied to the state to approve that ordinance. So our local traffic authority is the chief of police. You're going to get a petition tonight. It was thrown together over the last 6 or 7 days. Well over 100 signatures. There's some other suggestions on there on how to control traffic. I ask you to take a look at it, and please note that the stars next to some people's names indicate they were residents back in 1985-86. Thank you.
And if you can, yep, sign in. Thank you so much. Anyone else like to come forward at this time?
Hello, I'm Kathleen Young, and I live at 1136 Main Street here in South Windsor. I did hand tobacco off Newbury Road when Governor's Highway was dirt. And the governor, very many years before I was born, had the house right on the corner of Main and Governor. And so the bridle path went down, and you could tie your horse to the hitching post down there when you visited the governor. Now, Newbury Road, of course, being longer, I do remember in the 70s when they took the road away, because that was the paved road. And as far as the little misnomer of Governor's Path being a highway, I think it really does disturb a lot of people who think of a highway, because it definitely is not. When I was traveling, and I do have to cross Main Street at a terrible intersection on Route 5, to come Governor's Highway to Ellington Road, a tractor trailer was trying to turn left. Well, there's no room. So I waited through a couple lights, 2 to 3 lights, and what happened was they're trying to back and get the trailer truck to go left onto Governor's Highway. So this is quite an interruption and dangerous. Now, if it had taken Belden, maybe it would have been functional, but of course, Belden is not really in the position to take large tractor-trailer trucks, and I mean tractor-trailer trucks. Now, I know it's a big problem. It's like, can we go to the state? Is there any way to resolve this problem? I don't have an answer, but I know it's like, you can't really say it's a path now. If it's paved, is it a real road? That's it. More questions than answers.
Anyone else like to come up?
Hello everyone, I'm Shanmugha Kumar. I live in 140 Cody Circle.
Can you move the mic? Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I'm Shanmugha Kumar. I live in 140 Cody Circle. I'm a resident of this town for the past 2.5 years. We collected our neighbors' signatures. This is a petition primarily for road safety. We, the undersigned, petitioned the town council and the towns of South Windsor as follows. We call upon the town council to fulfill its 1986 promise to Belden Road and Governors Highway residents upon its decision to extend Governors Highway to John Fitch Boulevard, to prohibit tractor-trailer traffic by directing town's local traffic authority to file a request with Connecticut's Office of State Traffic Authority to approve the prohibition on both Governors Highway and Belden Road, which may make it legally enforceable. Point number 2, please make Baker Lane and Governors Highway intersection an all-way stop, both to reduce traffic speeding and address poor sightline issues, which have been noted in multiple planning and zoning meetings, including a testimony from South Windsor Police Sergeant. Point number 3, the name Governors Highway is misleading and encourages traffic speeding. Houses are built close to the road and do not permit a road width appropriate for the word highway. We request you to rename the road to Governors Way.
Well written, can I sign?
Yes.
It's like, okay. Oh dear. Do you have extra copies of this?
Yes.
And if you can sign in on the,
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. This one's mine.
so that way we can have your name
Working on this.
for the record.
This one also. On a side note, there were other things which we considered, but because we wanted to restrict it to the actionable item, we reduced it to 3. There are other things which can be considered, especially by the town, making the road one way, trying to limit traffic coming from Route 5. But what we see is there are bonds getting issued to make this into a high traffic highway or whatever you want to call it, without actually considering the citizens who live there and their welfare. Please review that. This is not good. It doesn't reflect well on the town. And we are also building a huge elementary school over there. And one side we are pulling the traffic from highway right into the, I don't know how to say it. You are just making unsafe for everyone. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you can give the petition to the clerk over here. Yep.
Thank you.
And did you sign in at the podium with your name? So that way we have it for the record.
Hello, Chairman. I'm Tim Wenzel. I've lived in town for 55 years, all of that time on Governor's Highway. I moved here 55 years ago with my prize rodeo horse and have been here ever since. I've served in many commissions in town, including design review, planning and zoning, was chairman of planning and zoning for a few years, public building commission, and I'd really like to address 2 points tonight, if you could bear with me. First of all, we had extensive meetings with the town council when Governor's Highway was completed. It really wasn't, it was 2 pieces. It really wasn't even a dirt road in between. Wasn't plowed in the winter or anything like that. When the point came up of extending the road through, many of my neighbors, myself, it was a large crowd, far larger than tonight, met a couple times here, and we really felt that there was a commitment on the part of the town that truck traffic wouldn't be allowed. It's reached a point now where, my house rattles at times. The road is disintegrating, and it's just in poor condition, and the traffic is such that at times you have to wait, which you've never had to, especially at rush hour, to actually cross the road. So it's changed the character of the neighborhood. The truck traffic in particular, the road is narrow, trucks are loud, the road is bumpy, there's a tremendous amount of noise. So it really, we feel as a neighborhood, and certainly I'm speaking for myself, that it was a commitment on the part of the town and everything should be done. I think it was mentioned that there was an ordinance passed and nobody was stopped. We were told a few years ago that you could only prohibit truck traffic by the town attorney at that time that was not going to any place in town. That was never enforced either. And so that basically what we're saying here tonight is, our neighborhood has really turned into just a whole different neighborhood than certainly when I moved here. And anything that we can do to preserve that would be greatly appreciated. The other point that I'd like to make is about the town charter. This board, in concert with town management, decided to not fund the attorney when the planning and zoning turned down a recent case. The neighbors raised money to try to defend the case, but the town didn't defend its own commission. And my belief that so doing that is you took over the role of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which certainly our charter never envisioned. And if a commission in town takes action that then they're sued for, it's the town's obligation to fund that. By you not funding it, in essence, the developers now know that if anything is turned down, they can sue the town, and the town council becomes the Planning and Zoning Commission. You were elected to be the town council, they were elected to be the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I see this as a very serious issue of what the town members vote for, and what has happened is something very much different. And I think we all need to think, is that what we want to do? Because that's not what this town charter says or envisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you sign the?
Oh, nope, I didn't.
Thank you, Mr. Wenzel.
Madam Mayor and council members.
Can you speak a little bit closer to the
Yeah.
mic?
Thank you for opening up the floor to hear our neighbors' concerns. My name is Wei Zhang. I live at 125 Cody Circle. I'm here to support the petitions raised by our neighbors. I support all 3 items mentioned in the petition document. In particular, I want to mention this suggestion about set up this stop sign of always stop sign on Governor Highway at the intersection with Baker Lane. My home is actually on a corner lot on between Baker Lane and Cody Circle, east side of Baker Lane. But you know, Baker Lane is a very short street, so you know, my house is basically very close to the intersection of Baker Lane and Governor Highway. And we all know, well, if you drive there, you all know, there's a stop sign on the Baker Lane side before Governor Highway. So when we drive out, we stop there. But the sight line on Governor Highway is very poor, and especially you can't see clearly the eastbound traffic from Governor Highway. So I think that sight line is caused by, you know, there's a temple caused partially by the hedges and the trees on the temple property. Also, it's caused by the curvature, you know, the curved shape of Governor Highway at that particular spot. So, but often in time, many cars drive very fast on Governor Highway, so we can't see them before we make a turn to the, make a right turn from Baker Lane to Governor Highway. Sometimes when you are halfway in your turn, oh, there you just see there's a car behind you speeding up towards you, but it's kind of a very scary situation, happen all the time. So the suggestion is to set up always stop sign on Governor Highways 2 when, you know, at the cross section between Governor Highway and Baker Lane. I'm just speaking here to support that petition. The sight line at that particular spot is really bad. Actually, this question was discussed before with planning zoning several years ago. In August 2018, there was a public hearing. It's about a application of setting up a daycare facility at Temple Bethel Hill at the time. So a lot of comments were made at that time for that small area. I just want to quote a comment from, it's actually part of the staff comments collected by Michelle Leip. In her comments, item number 8, it's a quote from Police Sergeant Chris Dushin. It said, Sergeant Chris Dushin from Police Services has indicated that the sight line at Baker Lane and Governor Highway need to be improved. So that what he said at that time. I think Sergeant Dushin right now is Lieutenant Dushin with the police department, and that's his comments about the sightline situation. It's in the meeting minutes of the planning zoning meeting on that day, and here's the copies for that meeting. So, yeah, based on that, you know, I agree with the petition, and we strongly suggest to set up a always stop sign at the cross section of the Baker Lane and Governor Highway. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come forward?
Good evening to the mayor, deputy mayor, and the council. My name is Derek Butler. I live at 596 Governor's Highway, South Windsor, 31-year resident. And the neighbors, we are all concerned about the increasing levels of truck traffic. Every month, the levels are getting higher and higher. The truck stop at the end of the street, I don't think is helping, the Pride truck stop. It looks like now, and I'm not sure if many are aware, or I don't know if it was in the original plan, when Costco was put up, was part of, like, was it permitted for them to drop extra trailers on another side of town? Because it looks like at 301 Governor's Highway, it looks like, you know, on an average night, there's 3 to 5 trailers from Costco that are dropped there. Are we aware that that was going on? I didn't know. There's 3 tonight. I've got a picture. Average is 3 to 5 a night. Just so it's in the record. So someone maybe could take a look at it. I don't know if it was in the original plan or not, but it just, that adds to the traffic. And also, just for informational purposes, I wanted to bring, in terms of health and safety, I mentioned this back in '22, but I just wanted to reread some of it for the council and try and get the information back into the public record. Back then, I presented an air quality and land use handbook put out by California Department of Environmental Protection. The handbook for them was used, it was back in 2005, they came out with it. It was updated in 2017, I believe, 2017. But it identified it as distribution centers, warehouses, trucking companies are allowed to get closer to residential neighborhoods. They attract, of course, tractor trailers. Tractor trailers emit and create diesel PMs, which is an air toxin. But what they've identified in this air quality and land use handbook is that the cases of exposure to the PMs associated with these facilities and traffic, they're associated with premature mortality, asthma, aggravated heart and lung disease. So especially when these facilities and this traffic is within 1,000 feet and under of a residential neighborhood, 800 feet and below. So what they're suggesting, and this is in terms of planning for future development, and the study shows that when there's a separation of 1,000 to 3,000 feet of a residential neighborhood, the incidence of those illnesses decreases. So there, anyway, they're suggesting and advise that with warehouses, distribution centers, terminals, that there is a definite 1,000 to 3,000 foot separation between those types of facilities and residential areas. So I've got a copy of a couple of sections. I just want to try and get it into the record if that's okay. And and I do support the petition that's go around as well. Thank you for your time.
And did you sign? Thank you. Anyone else like to come forward at this time? Sure.
I did already sign in. Sounds good, sounds good. Good evening. My name is Wayne Botha. I live at 720 Governor's Highway. My house was built around 1951 by John Tersevich after he returned from serving in World War II. In 1951, there were only a handful of houses on a narrow dirt road. I love my little house because it has history and character. I thank you for volunteering to serve on the Town Council and guide our affairs, including town safety and investing taxpayer money wisely. I attended the information session in December 2023 regarding reconstruction of Governor's Highway and have concerns that you should be aware of regarding this project. Firstly, we have vehicles speeding at any time of the day or night. I live on Governor's Highway, vehicles speed right past the front of my house. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour on that street. We have garbage trucks and dumpster trucks that use the waste facility on Nutmeg Road North. Many of these noisy trucks speed at 5 a.m. at the start of their day, traveling to this waste facility. It shakes the ground so badly that it triggers the motion detectors at the back of my property. Secondly, although previous town councils have tried to address the tractor-trailer problem, we still have tractor trailers traveling down the street, as you've heard, and that's why we've got a petition. Sometimes the tractor trailers are going so fast that they need to use the exhaust brake to stop at the stop sign on Belden Street. So from Ellington to Belden Street, they managed to pick up enough speed that they need to use a jake brake to stop at the stop sign. It is a health concern to have heavy diesel trucks traversing residential areas. So I bring to your attention that the proposed reconstruction of Governor's Highway does not address speeding, which is a major safety concern. The reconstruction project is estimated to cost between $2 and $3 million, and it has not included any sort of traffic study. And thus we don't know how much reconstructing Governor's Highway will negatively affect the residents. I'm actually concerned that we are just taking a narrow road, widening it, putting down a new surface, and we are just going to aggravate the problem of speeding. Therefore, I request that you, as the Town Council, call for a comprehensive traffic study on that reconstruction project. I think you would need to know what vehicles are using that road and at what time and at what speed, so that any improvement projects can be based on data. We know there are garbage trucks. We know there is speeding at 5 a.m. We know there are tractor trailers day and night, which does seem to have become significantly worse since the new truck stop opened. I ask that you request that the traffic consultants give at least 2 proposals to calm traffic during this reconstruction project. I find it hard to believe that we are the only people ever that have run into a situation where we need to calm traffic in a residential area. There must be ways that a traffic consulting company can make recommendations to calm traffic. If it's speed bumps, I don't know what it is, but that's one option. I also ask if the town manager can contact the providers of GPS maps to get Governor's Highway removed as a route for GPSs on trucks. I've heard of other towns doing this, where essentially a company like Google Maps removes a road from the routing algorithm. And as a resident, I could not do that, but I believe as a town, we could do that through the town manager. And finally, I ask that the Governor's Highway reconstruction project be put on hold until we have a proposal in place to make sure that this $2 to $3 million we're about to spend actually addresses the safety concerns that we've got in town. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Bota. How many more do we have to speak? Because we're at our 30-minute limit, so I want to be able to determine how long to extend it.
Well, I don't have a file. I just want to go on record, basically.
We got 2 more. You want to make a motion to extend it 10 minutes?
Yep.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
William Jones, 570 Governor's Highway. I just want to piggyback pretty much what everyone said tonight. I haven't been living there 40 years, but it'll be 20 years in August. And I got to tell you, in 20 years, Governor Highway has turned to the worst road I ever lived on in my life. What I mean by that is, family of 3 moved in, 20 years August, down to myself, wife passed away, and I have an autistic son, live in a group home now, and I bring him home all the time. But I see tractor trailers every other day backing down the street because they're too tall to go under the wiring. I'm at 570 right in the middle, and I have directed trucks in backing up so they won't run over anything. I just find that to be incredible. Instead of taking a left when you come out and get back on Route 5, you have to come down a residential area where you have 3 signs that says trucks prohibited. But they're just there for whatever they're there for. But I just wanted to come, be on record. I agree with what every single person has said here tonight, that Governor's Highway, all of a sudden, over the last 20 years, has gotten very dangerous. And it's just based on heavy-duty traffic and basically tractor trailers. Yeah. So thank you. I just wanted to be on record. And meet the new mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Mayor and Council for giving me a few minutes. I will not take a lot of time. My first name is Lee, last name Lovering, L-O-V-E-R-I-N-G. Lee is spelled L-E-I-G-H, that's Welch, 20 Elizabeth Street, South Windsor. I want to quickly start with a personal experience I've had on Governor's Highway. I drove down Governor's Highway from Belden, heading towards Ellington Road, came to the light. This is mid-morning. And I'm sitting there, fat, dumb, and happy, waiting for it to change green. All of a sudden, a 50-foot tractor trailer comes around, and he's gonna make the turn, regardless. Well, I'm right there on the line. I get out of the car. I have to give him the high five to stop. I had 2 cars parked behind me. Had to make them back up. Then I had to back up and allow this guy to make the turn. I happened to look over at the lawn on the corner of the street, the other side of my car, and I saw tractor-trailer ruts across this guy's lawn that some tractor or trailer had created at some point in time. I believe that the horse is out of the barn from the standpoint that you can't change tractor trailers coming on to Governor's Highway from Route 5 because you got the warehouses there, all that good stuff. But the other thing I found is that I can't tell you how many people I've asked over many months about Governor's Highway. Everybody thinks it's a state highway, and they don't realize it's a town road, and it's our tax dollars that are maintaining it. And if you drive down Governor's Highway from Route 5, particularly through the residential area, and you're driving at the speed limit, which is 25 miles an hour, and honestly, nobody does that. Driving in your car, you feel like a BB in a box car on a downhill grade because the asphalt is so bad. And it's really due for a resurface, at least down to Talbot. But I would ask you to take a look at the 3 points that we've made on the petition. It doesn't involve a lot of money, but just a little thought, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lovering.
Sign it after. Anyways, Christopher Edlin, born in town, 63, 23 years. I traveled on Newbury Road when it was paved before there ever even thought of extending Governor's Highway. We used to ride our bicycles there. It was dirt, farm fields. The town council promised all the residents.
Chris, can you make sure the mic is?
Yes, the town council promised all the residents that because G. Fox Warehouse was the biggest warehouse around, that if they did extend the road, they were going to keep the tractor trailer trucks from going to the residential neighborhoods. I lived it, I was there. I wanted to, one point, the town council, June 2nd, 1986, record locator 007788, gave the MDC the water line easement under Newbury Road because they were very concerned that the town was going to stop using that road. Not that they were ready to give it away or anything at the time, because they were going to stop using it. MDC was very concerned that they were going to lose the water rights. So the town council did give the water rights to MDC, again, June 2nd, 1986. And I know people that work for MDC, and I spoke to the real estate department there. They will not give up those water rights. And just something for the town to be aware of before they approve a warehouse to be built over top of those water rights. The paved road is still there between Carlos Pasta and Governor's Highway. Anyways, unfortunately, my relative Don Chapman, who headed the resistance for all these tractor trailer trucks going through by extending Governor's Highway to the G. Fox warehouse. He's passed. Most of my relatives have passed, but I've been here since 1963 in town. I know the history, and would sure hope we could do something to stop those tractor trailer trucks from going through. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Edlin. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward?
Hi, Kenny Young. I'd like to talk about a bunch of things, but right here down on, when you come down
You
Buckland,
speak close to the mic, please, Kenny.
when you come down Buckland Road and you hit the right here, Sullivan Avenue, if you take a U-turn, as you're coming down that road, you have a green arrow, which it shouldn't be a green arrow, because you're trying to make a U-turn in Buckland Road, you can take a right-hand turn there, because there's a green arrow. And then over here on Main Street, not Main Street, the railroad tracks, the center tracks is broken. You know, if you drive over it, you would see. And then the third is,
Can you move the mic close?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Third is what I came here for before. We'll watch the video some. You let me know how it works out. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, Kenny, which railroad tracks are you talking about?
What?
Which railroad tracks?
Oh, the one right here, Ellington Road, yes. If you look at the railroad, the center track's broken. It's the railroads. It's their thing. And over here, if you're going down the road, they have a green arrow, so it shouldn't be green arrow because it's...
Kenny, microphone, please.
I'm done talking. I just got to feel it done.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice? Thank you. Item 16, communications from the council. Well, I have a couple of items. The Max Challenge is holding their Family Fun Fair charity event on March 16th at the old Wapping School, which is the South Windsor Annex. That is, again, Saturday, March 16th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You'll be seeing the signs going up pretty soon. There's a bunch of activities, East Hartford Canine Demo, a bounce house, cooking demos, touch a truck, and ambulance house, and much more. And then also the Special Olympics. South Windsor athletes participate in bowling Saturdays in September through March on Saturdays at 10 a.m. at the Hall of Fame Silver Lanes in East Hartford, and their track and field events are April through June and Saturdays at 10 a.m. at the South Windsor High School track. And if anyone is interested, if they're not participating in Special Olympics, if they'd like to reach out, they can reach out to contact Coach Gene, that's Gene, John Koski. His email is johnkoski@gmail.com. And that's all I have. Anybody else have any communications? Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just real quick, because our meeting ran long last time, and I meant to say something to the students of the South Windsor High School, the Bobcat Prowl. If you have never looked at the newspaper electronically, it's phenomenal. The editors do a great job of keeping us informed in regards to what's happening with the school and the students. That's why some of the students that you guys have been seeing recently have been because of their articles. So I just wanted to shout out to the editors and the students of the Bobcat Prowl. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor King. Anything else going further? Seeing none, item 17, executive session. Deputy Mayor Siracusa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to invite the Town Manager, Michael Maniscalco, and Assistant Town Manager, Mr. Roberts. Anyone else? Mr. Maniscalco? into executive session to discuss item A, potential purchase of property located at 36 Graham Road, and 17B, potential sale of property located at 785 Sullivan Avenue. And I want to mention that we will be adjourning our meeting from executive session. So thank you to everyone who's come out tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.